Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Let's see how quick we can make this video. Apple Care warranty, Apple Care Plus warranty, and super extended. All right. A lot of YouTubers don't touch on any of this because they just think, oh, you got an Apple warranty for 1 year. Duh. I mean, come on. If these are Mac people, they should know well enough you can get an Apple Care Plus warranty for an additional 3 years worth of coverage, right? Like, come on, it makes sense. I mean, I bought into it because, yeah, I wanted 3 year term on this thing. And so mine does not expire until 2024 on my first Mini, which is a 16 by 512. And of course, I do have another Mini that is not under warranty at all, period. No way. Probably, well, I probably could send it to Apple and they could check it over and maybe they'd put one, but I don't care. It's an 8 by 256. What do I care? Anyways, but one of the things you can check on is the warranties that are offered by Apple. And when you look at each individual item, there are a few things that are not going to be like up to 10 years. And so I called Apple this morning because one of their blurbs in here, it says, you can buy coverage on a fixed term plan or on an annual plan that will automatically renew until canceled. That's the part that they weren't that clear on that they should have been, but that would probably take up a whole page to explain. That's why the wonderful man at Apple that I was talking to sent me 3 different links that covers every bit of this stuff, okay? And I will include those same links in the description box below, and you can check them out, and you can compare against your own device that you happen to have, because there's a lot of Apple products, right? So as a little thing on here, I put up just on the Protect Your Mac, okay? So we're talking M1, M2, 14-inch Pro, 16-inch Pro, the iMac, the Mini, the Studio, the Mac Pro, okay? Now, you'll notice that they do not mention anything as far as M1, M2, M3s once you get past that 15-inch Air. You're going to have to take that on an individual case, okay? Because we do have Intel Macs that were still being produced, and I don't know when they restarted this program, because they did do it originally at first when I first got into Apple computers back in the early 80s, and I mean sub-early, like 81, 82. And then that particular thing of continually renewing kind of got kiboshed and put to the side for quite a while, and they've brought it back. Kind of like they had 1 year Apple financing at through a company called Affirm, which I think is the stupidest move Apple ever made, because even I have a decent credit rating, I can't even qualify. Okay, so it's like that prevents me from buying a new Mac from Apple on payments. But the one thing they did do that was nice was they did actually up the ante from 1 year to now recently they've changed it to 2 year financing, which makes more sense, but it still same credit criteria. A lot of people are going to get turned down that this is going to prevent Apple from making sales on payments to people. So I think Apple needs to go in-house with this, not be so strict on the credit thing. I mean, you should be able to pass enough of a score level at least that you can afford the monthly payments based on income and expenses. And yeah, sure, let's help you out and let's get more Macs out there and get more market share. That's up to Apple to figure out for themselves if they want to have more market share or not. Bad enough. Because the way they're doing it now is not going to work for them. But anyway, so we can see that on here, the M1 Air, for example, for a 3 year Apple Care Plus is $229, okay? Or annually, you could pay $84.99. Now, it's only a $1,300 computer in Canada, and these are all Canadian prices, obviously, but the simple fact is, it's an investment. How long are you keeping it for? I mean, if you're the type of person that can afford to actually trade up every year or every 3 years because you want to stay with the Joneses, or you just want the newest technology, period, to keep getting faster and faster stuff, well then, yeah, you probably wouldn't benefit too much from getting even upwards to 10 years worth of coverage. Yes, I did say that, because their blurb actually says it can automatically be renewed every year on the annual plan until canceled. So I asked him about that, and I said, wait a minute, you're not going to do this forever. I mean, what would happen, say, you know, if in the event, right, we are like 12 years in? You're not going to get 12 years in. okay? This is why he gave me the 3 links. Because what Apple does in their little world is, in the terms of a vintage computer, that's 7 years. In terms of obsolete, that's 10 years. Now, this will vary on products because we know that Apple sells more than just computers. So you have to look at an individual case-by-case basis on how this is going to benefit you or not. But on the computer side, you could definitely see up to that 10 years. So after 10 years, you might want to say, well, I don't want to renew it anymore because, well, what's the point? It's obsolete now. Now, this is the other part. It's whichever comes first, obsolete or vintage. Okay, now vintage is definitely going to come within 7 years. Obsolete could also come within that 7-year time period. Okay, so if it becomes obsolete before it becomes vintage, then yeah, you're done. That's it. So case by case, product by product, read all the information in the 3 links that I'm providing down below in the description box to get the best knowledge base you can. If you have questions further beyond that, because you might not quite understand it, feel free to call your local main Apple. Now, I deal with Apple Canada, so yeah, I call Apple Canada. You would call Apple US or Apple whoever, but talk to the people there if you have questions far beyond the information provided in the 3 links below that were provided to me, because this does go to a lot more in-depth than just this. Because this visually, I told him, I says, this tells me that it's automatically renewed until canceled, so that means, you know, like 15 years later, if something happens to my computer, you know, it's still under warranty, so yeah, you should fix it. And he said, that's not exactly how it works, and that's why he gave me the other links to make it more clarified. Because I guess with the amount of information between these 3 links, they could not do that on a case-by-case basis on the main page. So it just wouldn't make sense. So this is why the 3 links, but they should have actually worded this until canceled a little bit better. Like it should have said something to the effect of, it can automatically be renewed until either you know, it becomes vintage or it's obsolete. In the case of computers, they could actually say obsolete, because we know that we can get an easy 10 years, sometimes 11 years, before a Mac computer can no longer surf the internet, because there's absolutely no more updates for the OS. No browser is going to work after X amount of time. So yeah, you're definitely obsolete at that point. You're not vintage, you're obsolete. So when that occurs, that's obsolescence for sure. But there are other things that would become obsolete sooner, even prior to becoming vintage. So that's why it's a case-by-case thing. Okay, so really look into this. A lot of YouTubers have missed the banana boat on this one, where they just talk about, oh, Apple Care warranty is only good for a year, and then what happens next year when your SSD dies, for example, okay, because you put too much info on it and you're past your spec line, right? Yeah, they're not telling you about Apple Care Plus, which takes you up to 3 years coverage and gives you extra benefits as well within that Apple Care Plus program. And of course, they also failed to mention any possibility of a year-by-year basis that can go on for upwards, depending on the device, upwards to 10 years tops, you know, where you have that coverage. So yeah, that's what I'm here for, to explain this, because it wasn't explained to you at all by any other YouTuber that I've even come across. And believe me, I watch a lot of tech channels, okay, especially Apple dedicated ones and ones that just dabble in Apple and, you know, type of thing. You know, it's like, oh, it's a Mac, oh, you know what I mean? But anyway, down below, make your comments as always. The links are there in the description box in the video. Check out the links. Like I said, case by case, depending upon your device. But you can easily see, even if you hit the back button, we have computers, iPads, the phones, the watches, HomePod, Apple TV, headphones. You know, like even let's take a quick look at just their headphones, for example. See what they have. So we got earbuds and headphones up here. And we scroll down the list and we see Apple Care Plus. You can buy on a fixed term plan, okay, which is going to be 2 years. AirPods Pro, and Beats, $39 for that 2-year AppleCare Plus. So you can see that it's a fixed term. They make absolutely no mention here as far as extending beyond that. But if there is anything to that effect, that's what the links are for. And you can check into that as well. You can also see AppleCare Plus terms and conditions for complete product details. Just click even on that link and you can see what's happening there. But if that's not clear enough, that's what these 3 links are for. Check them out in the description box below, and hopefully that helps you clarify things so you can also make a better choice too when you're buying even a Mac computer or an iPad or an iPhone, etc., how you're going to deal with coverage. Because even though Mac products are very resilient and they do tend to be built like tanks, anything can go on at any time. And we have seen a number of MacBook Pros on YouTube videos I've watched where SSDs have failed very prematurely. And it was the cause not of the SSD, but something else on the board. And you're going to want that extended coverage, especially on an expensive laptop like a 14 or 16 inch, you know, M2 and now the M3s or even the M1s. You're going to want that extra coverage because it's going to save you a ton of money. Because if you had to pay the bill yourself, cha-ching, baby. Okay, so think about that. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.